Forex and Crypto Legends, welcome to another episode of WAVEMATICS Weekly Forecast. Last week we had a very wonderful analysis, and this week is not going to be an exemption because I'm seeing a lot of profitable setups. My name is Peter Pearl, founder of Pearl Markets and Forex and Crypto Legends. Welcome to another week of WAVEMATICS Weekly Forecast. In this week's episode, we are going to look at the dollar index as usual and a lot of dollar related pairs. At the same time too, we are going to look at other profitable setups, and we will not be leaving. A lot of people requested for Nasdaq, so we'll be having a look at it. Bitcoin, Repo, we are going to have a look at a whole lot of setups today. This week's video, I'm trying to make it short and snappy, so I'll go a little faster, but it will be well detailed. We will quickly start with the dollar index. With the dollar index, we've been tracking these two counts for some time now, and now for account 1, I'm seeing green wave 1 as a leading diagonal. So what we are expecting is a correction for wave 2 like this, but there's also a possibility of price, the leading diagonal not complete, so price hitting this level and coming down before we go. So when it happens that way, wave 3 will be at this side, wave 4 here, then wave 5 before we go up. On the alternate count 2, we are looking at a flat scenario. So with that one, we are also looking at price coming to this particular level. So with that one, there will be a very deeper correction, but at the same time too, this is an ABC with an ending diagonal. So the same way we treated the leading diagonal, the ending diagonal can be the same. There can be another drop before going up, before we move up. But once we get a breakout like this and get a correction, then we will start trading. So once we have two counts like this, our first thing we'll be looking at is these levels first for price to get there. Then we will look at it if we use our FIB tool to measure it to know whether we are going to have a wave 2 to have a drop, or price is going to move in a 5 wave to complete green wave C, to complete blue wave C. The next pair we'll be looking at is gold. We've been doing analysis for gold every time, but almost every week when we put a question out of pairs we want people want us to analyze, it looks like it's always in the lead. So I will not say we've analyzed this, I will still go over it again. With gold, we've been looking at this particular pair. Now I'm seeing a WXY. Then we had this particular impulse. There's two particular scenario. There is a possibility of price dropping to this low, we having something like this before going up, and but this is our primary count now. This has been our primary count for almost a month now. Every time this particular one has been my, so with my primary count, I'm expecting price to come somewhere here to complete green wave, white wave 4 before we go up to complete green wave 4. Then we will see if we can get another correction to test this particular trend line, then before we move up like this. So when we go to the 1 hour time frame, when we move to the 1 hour time frame, this is what is happening on the 1 hour time frame. It's a very simple pattern. We've had an impulse like this, and there is a correction in play. So we are waiting for this whole thing is kind of corrective. So we are waiting for price to break out from this yellow trend line. Then we are looking at it testing this trend line to give us white wave 4. Then we will start looking for buy. So once you get any sell signal for the short term, you can scalp it or day trade it. But if price should break out from this particular trend line, the white trend line in this way, if we get a very sharp breakout, today my pen is worrying me, I don't know what is happening with it. If we get a very sharp breakout like this and get a correction like this, then there is a possibility price might come to retest this. So when this happens, that means our scenario of the dollar index developing into a flat of moving a 5-wave upwards, as we discussed in account 2, when that one comes into play, then there's a possibility of gold being like this before going up. So when it happens that way, our counting will be like WXY, this side will be an X and a Z here before we, so our white wave X will move to this side before we move up. Now, inside the Forex and Crypto Legends group, I'm looking at making it a very wonderful public group as compared to any other group. If you look at the quality of this group, you can see that it's people who are really serious. So I'm coming out with a new program where we'll be having a lot of quizzes and a lot of labeling assignments. So I'll be putting blank charts like this, because there are a lot of people who are struggling with how to do correct labeling, and this is a fine opportunity at a free cost. So I'll be putting charts like this. So what we'll be doing is, once I put out the chart like this, you put down your labeling, of the charts. So we will give it a specific time for everyone to submit his labeling. Then I'll do a video analysis and look at the possible scenarios, the ones we are wrong, the ones we are right. So that one is not going to be like we are analyzing a particular pair, but this time an educational, like a Legends classroom aspect of it, in where we will learn how to label the charts correctly. So I'm going to post details about this in the course of the week, and we will start with this. The next pair that we are going to look at is the Aussie dollar. I posted this particular pair on a Telegram channel on Friday, that is May 20th, and this is what I posted. It's a very simple setup. So at that time I was looking at it like, okay, we've had a wave 1, a wave 2, and a classic pattern of head and shoulder. So we are waiting for price to come break the level. So I was looking at, okay, this also being another wave 1, then we are looking for an ABC correction for wave 2. Then we come down for green wave 3 of C, and that is exactly what happened. So if you can see, we had a 3-wave correction, of an A, B, C, and now price retraced down. So this particular week, what we are looking for is this way. Now we've had an impulse coming down. Conservatively, if price break below the neckline, that is where we will get a lot of conviction, but still you can trade it. If we get a correction like this on the lower time frame, we are going to sell green for green wave 3. But once price break out of the neckline and we get another correction like this, if I'm already in this particular trade, so if I get that correction here or this side, I'm going to add up to the trade. It's a very simple trade. If we look at also the same pattern is also happening on the Kiwi dollar. If you look at the Kiwi dollar, that one too, we are looking at the WXY, a double zigzag, or a double 3 rather, for this particular pair. So we've had a wave A, a wave BC for X, and now we are coming down for yellow wave C. So now we are looking for a 5-wave for green wave A, then we have a B and C for yellow wave C. So this one also had a nice pattern of a head and shoulder, and so now we've had a wave up, a correction, another wave up. There is a possibility. Let's look at these scenarios. When it happens like this, these zones of support and resistance, which is also doubling as the head and shoulders neckline, need to be broken. Then we have a lot of conviction of price coming down. But as it stands now, there is also a possibility of price going up this way to give us a flat, then we can come down. But as it stands now, we can even still trade it this way. Price can just continue because this also qualifies for a 3-wave pattern. So once we get a correction like this, we can also sell it, or possibly you can also wait for price to break out from this zone, then look for your correction at this level before we sell it. Now let's go to the dollar index, the Euro USD. Euro USD today, when during weekly analysis like this, I always try to give you my bullish count and the bearish count so that you can be prepared for all the scenarios. Whatever the market is doing, you can know how to play it, because as a soldier in the market, you should always have a plan A and a plan B to be battle ready, because the market is not a gambling site. It's not like we are gambling this. It's a game of probabilities. We are preparing for the highest level of probability, then we pull the trigger to get into the trade. If we are right, we are right. If we are wrong, we are wrong. We don't tamper with trade. It's as simple as that. So with the Euro USD, this is a bullish count. With a bullish count, we are seeing this as green wave 1 with an ending diagonal. So we are looking for an ABC correction for green wave 2 before we go up. So now how we are going to trade this particular one is, if we get, now we've had an impulse down, if we get any correction like this, you can look on a lower time frame. Once you get any flag correction or any kind of pullback, then you can sell it down before we get something like this. Alternatively, on our bearish count, like we've been tracking this particular pearl. I posted this. It was part of our analysis last week that okay, there is a possibility that you should be looking forward for an ending diagonal for wave C. If you've forgotten, you can check that video. You can see that I drew these lines when we were only having these ones. I think we were having only wave 1 and 2. That there is a possibility. So with this one, I drew this particular ending diagonal different from our bullish count. So there is a possibility of price coming this way and going up to give us a same the ending diagonal, but it's going to pull up once more before coming down. So whatever be the case, in case you are looking at the bullish count and looking at this particular one, you're thinking that the ending diagonal is finished and maybe price is going up, you might not know what to do. That is why I look at the alternative scenario this way, so that you know that there is a very high possibility of price also going one more up to give us still the same ending diagonal before coming down. So with this particular setup, once price break through this particular trend line, then we'll be tracking the ending diagonal of the bullish count. We'll be using that one. But with this particular count, we are very bearish on Euro USD for this particular count. So we had a leading diagonal for yellow wave 1 and ABC for yellow wave 2. So with this one, once it starts into play, we are coming to break this particular low, but we are going to trade it in bits. First will be trading this particular bullish count. We're trading the bullish count. We'll be trading it in bits to first look at once we get into the 50 to 61.8 zone, then we look at price reaction to that zone. Once we break through it and look at the price action that we will gain, that is where we are going to decide whether price is going to be bullish. But as it stands now, both our bullish count and our bearish count is all suggesting that we are coming down before either an upward or a trend continuation. The next pair that we'll be looking at is the pound dollar. The pound dollar too, we've been tracking two particular counts, a bearish count and a bullish count. I've been posting this last week to reanalyze this one. So with this particular one, now I'm seeing with our bearish count a wave 1, and we are seeing a WXY with an ABC, with wave C being an ending diagonal. So with this particular count, we are waiting this week for price to break below the ending diagonal, and this level is going to be our confirmation level. But once price breaks through it, be very careful with this red zone. It's been acted as a very strong support and resistance zone at this level. If you can check the number of price testing it as support, there was a breakout, it testing it back as a support again. So we've had a lot of resistance here and support. So if price break out through it and we get a correction, we are going to sell. But once it gets to this particular zone, you have to be watching it, because price can hit the zone and bounce off like this. And when price is bouncing off like that, that is where it's going to bring into play our bullish count. If you look at our bullish count, we had this complex triangle we were looking at the other time. So with that, we have this for wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, 4 and 5 for green wave 1. So with that, we are looking at an ABC correction. So we have wave A, wave B. So we are waiting for price to continue on downwards. Maybe we get a pullback, then we will sell. So once we sell, it's a wave 2. So price can be at this level, or we are going to get a bounce back from this level. So we have given you all the two scenarios, whether we are going bearish or bullish. You don't need to know what is going to happen to the future. You just have to analyze your charts very well. So as more price action happens, then you get to know the highly probable ones, then you trade it. It's as simple as that. The next pair that we'll be looking at will be the pound Japanese yen. The pound, last week, I think for the 2 weeks now, I've shared this particular. So today I'm going to show you my daily count. Then we will go back to the lower time frame. On the daily count, I'm looking at a flat. We've had a corrective wave for red wave A. So we are looking at this whole correction that has been in place since September 2017. So now with the correction, we've had an ABC. So wave C is underway. So we've had wave 1, 2. So we are now ending wave 3. So we are waiting for a correction for wave 4. Then price will move up once again into this particular zone of the 50% Fibonacci level, and we will start looking for downward move. So on the lower time frame, when we go to the 1 hour, this is an alternative count to what I've been sharing. So I did share a triangle count for wave 4. So this particular count is also an alternative count, but looking at the pattern, this particular pattern, that is why I've switched to my alternate count. If you look at the one I'm putting in a box, this particular pattern, if you look at the pattern, I'm seeing more of one on the classic patterns. We are seeing a head and shoulder, and at the same time I'm seeing this one wave 4 is not a triangle, but I'm seeing a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for blue wave 3. Then now blue wave 4 is started. So with this, whenever you start seeing these choppy these choppy price action, if you look at the oscillators, you will see that there will be divergence also in play. So now we've had white wave 1, we have white wave 2. So we are looking for price breaking this particular zone, give us a correction, then we are going to sell. So once it's a wave 4 triangle, it can be a zigzag, it can be a triangle, or any particular, but we are very bearish now on this particular pair. If we go to the Nasdaq, last week we did discuss Nasdaq. If today we are not going to the weekly or the daily time frame, if you want the account, you can refer to last week's video. So with on the 4-hour time frame, this is what we are looking at. Last week we had a wave 1 and we were looking for wave 2. Last week we had our wave 2 here. So we were looking for price to move up, but with this particular the price action that formed, we couldn't get a 5-wave impulse for this particular one, because if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this particular count cannot be taken as a correction because it's just one straight line. So we now counted it as a WXYXZ for wave 2. So now if that is the case, then this will be our wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. So we are waiting for price to give us a wave 4. Then we will go up for wave 5 to complete. Then we will start looking for these corrective moves before we go upwards. Alternatively, there is also a possibility of this particular count. You know, if you look at this whole structure, it can be wave 2. You see, from last week I put a question mark here. It can be that yellow wave 2 is not finished yet, so there can be a flat like this. So there is a possibility of price giving us once we get this scenario is also very possible. So now we are coming for a wave C or a wave Y. So here can be an A, this side will be a B, then price can come and test this low before we go upward, like this. So once we are now tracking on our primary count, we are tracking a wave 4, but put this scenario also in your mind that it can also be this way. So once we get it this way, then now this side will be our wave 2 before we will start looking for the impulsive wave up. The next pair we'll be looking at is Bitcoin. A lot of people, you see, when there is any kind of crash, people start panicking that is this the beginning of the bear market, of the bear cycle. But for me, I'm not seeing it that way. We've been looking at this particular pair for some this particular coin. So this is the count that I'm looking at now. I always try and do a lot of different counts, but now I'm sticking to this particular count. So with this one, we have yellow wave 1, yellow wave 2, yellow wave 3. Then now we've had this ABC. If we compare the time rate, the Fibonacci time analysis of this particular correction, this one looks too short for me to be a wave 4 correction. So now that we've gotten a very deep deep pullback or corrective wave, I'm seeing that to be as an A. So now what I'm looking for is price to just be in a very corrective wave, in a kind of zone to play for time. So with that one, I'm looking at an ABC first at this 0.618 fib time ratio. Then there is also a possibility that because the wave 2 lasted for a very long time, so if this is a wave 4, there is a very high possibility of it giving us a triangle into this particular zone. So now I'll be looking at something like this, ABC. Then there is a possibility of it being an ABCD. Even if after all this price start going up and we even break this low, and if it's a 3 wave, don't take it like the next impulse is going, because it can break this low and still be a wave B and still come down. So we are going to look at this in a now wave B. It's not clear whether wave B has started, but whatever be the case, that is what we are tracking. I'm looking at it in a triangle way. But first, once price get to this C, I'll see the ABC to see if price has finished before we go. All these fib times fib time series and these Fibonacci time ratios are as guidelines, but the most important thing when trading the wave analysis is pattern recognition. Those are the most important things we look at first. So once we get the patterns correct, all the other ones are supportive ones. I'll record a different video to show you how to use the fib time ratios, because it applies very well in the crypto. It's also doing in forex, but I've tested it a lot, and its consistency in crypto is very high. So I'll record a separate video and show you how to use the Fibonacci time to know how I arrive at these lines and how we use it and how it can help in your trading. The last pair, the last coin we'll be looking at, I had other requests of Ripple, so I decided to show my Ripple count. For Ripple, this is my daily time frame. So with the daily time frame, we've had this corrective move for some time before price went up. So now I'm looking at a WX for a triangle, then white, complete white wave 4. Then price gave a leading diagonal, an expanding leading diagonal for wave 1. Then we had a correction for blue wave 2, another spike up. So when with the spike up, now we are looking at green wave 1, then price giving us an A, B, then a C. So the wave C is in progress. So I'm looking at price getting into this fib zone of 50% and 61.8%. Then after that, I'm looking for we getting a reversal sign to get a reversal sign for the trend continuation for green wave 3. So with this, you can wait to see price reaction in this particular zone. Then if we get any pullback like this and a correction, then we will buy. Okay, legends, that will be all for this week. So let me know other pairs I should be looking at in the course of the week in the comment section. So do like the video, share it for your friends and other traders to also have it. So we'll be in touch tomorrow.